From the heartland of America, focused on God, family, and country, the mouthpiece of the Midwest. This is Dale Carter's America.
Back in the Raytown studios of Dale Carter's America, getting ready for some exciting times coming up, which we'll get into here in just a little bit. And of course, the politics of what's going on in our local area in Jackson County and Kansas City, and of course, nationwide. Always fun stuff to talk about on Dale Carter's America. We thank Bob Watson for being part of our podcast. One of our favorites. We love all of our sponsors, but Bobby and I go back longer than anybody else because he's been my State Farm guy for 30 plus years. He's been a State Farm agent for 51 years, the gold standard of State Farm. You know the brand. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Bob Watson has been with my family through thick and thin, and he'll do the same thing for you with his incredible staff there in Blue Springs. 816-229-7878. Auto, home, life, business insurance. Get a free quote. His office is at 712 Main Street in Blue Springs, but that doesn't matter. He's licensed to both Missouri and Kansas, and you find out the value of your insurance when you need it, right? And when I've needed my insurance, Bob Watson has been there to hold my hand through lots of different scenarios. So with our podcast, Kurt, I know more and more people are coming to it. One of those little clips that you put up, one of the reels that you put up, last I looked, had 400,000 views.
Yeah, on Facebook, 400,000 views on Facebook, yeah.
I don't even know why. I mean, it's the stuff I've been saying all along.
I texted you this, but I think the Facebook algorithm it promotes like stuff that triggers people. So
good. Well, let's trigger people more often. We get more publicity that way. But that was really good, and I'm hearing from a lot of people, especially with my run for Jackson County Legislature, that they're now discovering the podcast and they want to know more about it. So for all of those who do join us, who want to help us spread the word, how can they do that?
Yes, you can watch on YouTube or Rumble the video podcast. Make sure to drop a comment, hit that subscribe button, drop 2 comments, 3 comments, and send the link to your friends. You can find the audio-only podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and then make sure to follow us on Facebook as well. You know, those reels, they go viral, but it doesn't always lead to more like subscribers.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird thing because people just scroll their phones endlessly. So they just see something, they see something.
Well, I was popping a chub over this. I thought, man, this is really good.
Yeah, I mean, it is good. It is good. Yeah.
More now you're making my chub go, meow.
That's all you meant. I don't know what to say about that.
Hey, this is our last chance to tell you about my campaign kickoff.
We're right from the chub into the campaign.
We want to vote for this guy. I mean, really, could I be worse than Frank White? Come on. At least I've got a little experience in this area, and I care deeply about Eastern Jackson County, and I want to make a difference. So I think that separates me from a lot of these people to begin with. But I'll be telling that story, and we'll have a lot of fun guests at our campaign kickoff, which is coming up Tuesday at Funhouse Pizza in Blue Springs, the location on 7 Highway. We're going to have a special large pizza, 2 drinks for 2026. To get you ready for the election coming up next November. So this kicks off a year of campaigning. We'll be signing up campaign volunteers. In fact, we may have a special guest host for the podcast. I'm going to have to talk to you about that, but I got some ideas in my head here. So just come out, have fun.
It's not me, is it?
It's not you.
Okay.
We're going to have like an hour of like the patriotic music going in the background while we're shaking hands, kissing babies, talking to folks. And then we're going to get underway with a lot of what the issues of the day are, and we'll take questions as well. It's a podcast event, October 28th. That's this coming Tuesday, Funhouse Pizza in Blue Springs. I'll also be speaking to the We the People organization at Lake Lotawana. That is coming up on November 3rd at 7 p.m. Spreading the message. I'm in this thing to represent Eastern Jackson County because I don't feel like they're being represented. Right now, all we are is the checkbook for what's going on in Kansas City, and that's got to change. That is the number one reason, that and the tax assessments and all that. But the good news there, Phil Lavota's off to a great start. He's already making incredible changes. I was talking to Preston Smith, who's one of my big supporters at an event this week, and, you know, Lavota's a Democrat, right? Mm-hmm. Preston, who is a die-hard in-the-wool Republican, right? He says of Phil Lavoda, he's the best county executive we've ever had in Jackson County.
Wow.
I mean, what does that say? I mean, we've had a long list of really bad people, and Phil Lavoda is getting a lot of things done there. So a lot to talk about there, and we'll do that again on October 28th at Funhouse. You want to follow me with my campaign? The website is dalecarter.us. And if you are compelled to make a campaign donation, we're not going to turn you away because we're going to need all the help we can get. I don't know for sure whether Jeannie Lauer, who has that seat now, will run. She's been a guest on our podcast before. I just don't agree with her much on what she's doing. I mean, she's part of that Frank Four. She was in on Frank White all the way to the end. Even telling me, like right before the election, that she had a good feeling he was going to win. And he lost, with like 90% of the vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling. I don't think she's going to run, but she hasn't made that decision yet, and she is sitting on a pile of cash. So I'm starting from basically nothing. So if you want to help us make a difference in Jackson County, dalecarter.us, hit the donate button and help us get going here. You're not giving it to me. You're donating it to a cause that you believe in if you live in Eastern Jackson County. I'll tell you, one of the best guys in Eastern Jackson County, and you're going to get a chance to meet a lot of these people. Bob Watson's not going to be at our podcast event, but Tim Porter is going to be there.
Cool.
Tim runs the Christian Brothers Automotive in Independence. They take care of cars. We're keeping our cars longer, and because of that, you really need to make sure that you've got them up to snuff. Oil changes, checking the tires, all of the maintenance things that are going to help that vehicle stay with you longer. I'm asking you to call Christian Brothers right now, especially if you don't have a brand new car. If you've got one that you're going to need to keep for a while, every brand they work on, 816-675-4587. Now, they're independently owned and operated. The Independence location is right along 40 Highway. It is just east of 470, 291. They've got a beautiful building, and they're going to take care of your car. They're going to hold your hand through the entire process, especially if you know nothing about cars like I know nothing about cars. Christian Brothers will definitely take care of you. They got good hearts, good souls, and they're going to, and because, a lot of people that work on cars maybe don't have that and try and stick you with huge bills. That's not what Tim Porter is about. 816-675-4587. Michael Schroer is going to be at the podcast event. He said he wouldn't miss it. He's the guy who's selling houses left and right in the Kansas City area. He's got Remax Elite as his broker in Lee's Summit, and you can leave a message for him at his office. He's rarely there because he's out moving and shaking and moving properties. But the office number is 816-373-8400. His cell, probably the better way to get him, is 816-520-9342. He's been selling, he's winning awards because he's selling so many houses. And he's got a great schematic, I guess is the best way to put it, because it's like there are several different stages of your life where you need housing, right? You start off in an apartment, then you get the first time home, and then you parlay that into something bigger when you start having kids. Kids go through school, they move out. That'll happen to you faster than you think it will, Kurt. It will. They're small now. You got littles now, but they're going to go to school, and it will happen very fast, and you'll be looking for a smaller house to right size. And then maybe you'll come across a piece of property you want to build on. Michael Schroer is your guy. So get it done with him. Okay, I want to go backward a little bit and talk about the whole No Kings thing. What did you think of it?
I barely paid attention to it. Honestly, yeah, it's just it's a bunch of noise over nothing. So much of this, I'm starting to realize on both sides, but especially the protesters, the left, and all that stuff that go out there, they don't really have any purpose for doing it. They're just, it's like a social club.
Well, we'll get to that with some of the fun videos here. But the bigger dick is what I call it, right? The bigger dick. This goes back to when Trump was inaugurated the first time. Remember, he said, this is the biggest inauguration we've ever had. And, of course, the media that hated him from the get-go, they were showing aerial shots that there weren't a whole lot of people there in D.C. Right. So it comes down to the bigger dick thing. So MSNBC, they went the other way on this. They lied in another direction because have you seen this? They used stock footage from the first No Kings rally to show one area. And they got busted on it because everything looked exactly the same from the first time.
I haven't seen that.
Well, you can try and find that. But let's say that their number is right. What are they boasting? 7 million?
Here's the thing right there.
All right, there you go. So that's the same picture they used from the last time there was a No Kings rally. Let's say that it's 7 million because that's what they say. And I don't even know what the magic number behind 7 million is. Who cares?
Right.
Right? Donald Trump got 77 million votes in this country. What if Donald Trump called a MAGA rally? He's not going. I don't think he's going to. But what if he did? Let's say
there's supposedly over 1 million people at J6, and everyone thinks of J6 as like the riot or whatever, but it wasn't that. There was a whole speech and a rally.
People showed up
on the National Mall, and there was like over 1 million people there. Then you had the March for Life always brings out a bunch of people, like over 1 million people. Across the pond, we had the protest in London. And that was the opposite, where the media tried to downplay the numbers. They said it's like 100,000 people. And you look at the pictures, it's like the entire downtown London is like full of people. Eric, there's no way that's 100,000 people.
I watched some of the video of this, and predominantly it was like old white people.
Yeah.
Bunch of old white liberals who just hate Donald Trump. They wake up every morning and it's like, what can I be pissed at Donald Trump about today? Can you imagine living your life like that?
Yeah. Yep. It's the old Nazis around every corner thing. It's
crazy.
They're looking for something to be upset about.
You would think if you were there, you would know why you were there. I love videos like this. I got a couple of them here. Why are you even here?
We're out here at the No Kings protest, and we're asking all the important questions.
Such as, if Trump was elected, how exactly is he a king?
Because he is trying to take control of everything. Like his checks and balances are not working, so he is just trying to completely disregard the Constitution.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of amendments have been kind of overcome, like in a way that they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, which amendment specifically?
The first one.
Trying to take away our
freedom of protesting.
I would say that it's because even though he was elected, I agree, due process, he got what he got elected fairly, sure, but he's doing things that make him the king. Like he's taking away, civil rights.
That's a great question. I don't particularly think he's a king. It's how people are viewing him as.
Actively switching the levers of power in order to subvert elections.
And what does that mean?
Things such as trouble coming up with words.
Yeah, I love it when they've come up with some buzzword that they read somewhere and they just say that with confidence, and then the young lady says, "What do you mean by that?"
Yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean the opinion is not based in their own reasoning. It's based on just the current thing of what somebody told them. So it's just at a surface level. They have no deeper understanding of it. They can't back it up. So as soon as you challenge it with the most basic question, like he was elected, how is he a king?
Yeah,
the whole thing just falls apart.
Regurgitation, I think, is what we call that.
Yeah.
Got one more.
Okay, here we go.
Trump's a bitch. What is that? I don't know. We don't like him. That's the word around here.
I like this guy. I don't care. I don't like this guy.
Any particular reason why you don't like him?
No clue at all. I'm just going with everybody else saying.
I gotta play that again. That's hilarious.
He's the poster child for this.
Trump's a bitch.
What is that?
I don't know. We don't like him. That's the word around here.
Any particular reason why you don't like him?
No clue at all. I'm just going with everybody else.
No clue at all. Hey, at least he's honest, right?
I got no clue at all.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
just going along with it.
I like that guy. I like that guy.
Yeah. Have you heard of Batya Unger Sargon?
Nope.
Okay, I'd never heard of her either. Apparently she's been a contributor to CNN, and now she has her own show on News Nation. This clip is her first monologue on News Nation, but she's been holding this line on CNN, which goes against what they believe. And she's like telling them what's actually going on, not what they're promoting, but what's actually going on. So I love her take on No Kings.
As you watch this, Democrats across the country are gathering for the second No Kings protest, whose goal is to, quote, show the world America has no kings and the power belongs to the people, in what they say is a nationwide push to remind America that democracy means no one is above the law. But America very obviously doesn't have a king. It has a president who is implementing campaign promises that he made in the run-up to an election in which he won the popular vote. Far from being above the law, he has abided by every court decision against him, including the patently ridiculous, including those quickly overturned by higher courts. The power already does belong to the people. The majority of them voted for Donald Trump, and now they are getting exactly what they voted for. That includes the very things that the left is protesting: destroying the threat of toxic drugs being trafficked into the country by terrorist cartels to poison and kill our young people, deportations that protect the wages of working class Americans, tightening the labor market so workers can ask for more from their employers, support for law enforcement to keep criminals from having free reign of our streets where they routinely victimize the most vulnerable, and tariffs that protect the product of the labor of the American working class, making that labor competitive again in the global marketplace. The left isn't protesting Trump, but the agenda that the majority of America voted for. They aren't protesting a king, they are protesting their fellow Americans. They aren't standing up for democracy, they are protesting it. And it's no coincidence that they are protesting Trump on the very week that he ended the war in Gaza. Let's not forget that this week, which is ending in a protest against a fictional king, began with a very real president pulling off a miracle. He arranged a ceasefire deal and the return of the 20 remaining Israeli hostages held for 2 years in Hamas captivity. I guess the left can't protest a war that's no longer happening. The ceasefire now crowd went eerily silent after Trump arranged this ceasefire. Few and far between were the Democrats willing to credit the president with actually manifesting the thing they had been demanding for 2 years. Instead of crediting the president with his astonishing achievement, they invented injuries to lay at his feet. The No Kings demonstrators are allegedly gathering to protest Trump's abuse of power. But what they're really opposing is his use of strength, peace through strength, be it from foreign adversaries or criminals. No wonder men are flocking to the Republican Party. The Democrats have lost the ability to distinguish between strength and abuse. Here's AOC at a CNN town hall this Wednesday on how Republicans have managed to lure all the men into their party.
And they are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys, in particular, away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender.
The other women nod their head. That's enough.
What is secure masculinity versus insecure masculinity?
What's toxic masculinity?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And you know, this just came across the wire. Nancy Pelosi now says local police in California can arrest ICE agents for breaking California law. So if an ICE agent goes in and let's say you're an illegal, but you're in a sanctuary city, she's saying that California law enforcement can arrest the ICE officer for breaking California law. Now, I probably read a different constitution than Nancy read, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
supremacy
crazy.
clause, I think, is what we've talked about on this deal.
We have talked about that.
So we need to keep this is what I would throw out here now. We need to keep our eye on the ball because the Democrats are clearly trying to foment anti-Trump sentiment, right? They're doing it every day. Now, you know they do everything with purpose. What do you think their purpose is? Their purpose is to try and flip the House in 2026. That's all they're doing by fomenting this anti-Trump sentiment. We know what he's doing. Batya knows what he's doing. I like her a lot, by the way. I think she's going to go very far. We're going to talk about all of this in the government shutdown segment, but let's keep our eye on the ball. What is important to us as conservatives? That's what we need to keep our eye on the ball with. Last thing today that they have their hair on fire about is the new state ballroom. They're calling it the Trump ballroom, right? This wire service that we have just pisses me off every day because of how they write stories and the bent that is obvious. It's not supposed to be opinion. If this were the opinion page, that would be one thing, but it's not. It's the quote unquote news wire, right? And it's all about opinion. So the fact of the matter is, he's building a new state ballroom. Have you seen any of the pictures of what's going on there?
Yeah, here's one right here. That people have been sharing.
So that's the east wing of the White House. Have you been to the White House? We've talked about this.
Yeah, I was like real little. I was probably 10, something like that.
I've been to the White House many times. I love it. It's obviously one of our best historic buildings in this country. And that area that they are tearing down was built in 1942 by FDR. This is not all the way back to John Adams and the original White House. The original White House is there in the middle.
The main section.
Yeah, the wings have been added on after that. And that's where you would go in if you were taking a tour of the White House. So you go through the East Wing, you come up through the public buildings, and then you go out the front door. So all that is the entry to the White House from the east side. So when dignitaries come in, that's how they're taken in. And when they have a big party, for that they can't fit into the state dining room because the state dining room or the East room, they're not big enough. They put those tables in there and you are butt cheek to butt cheek in there. Right. So they'll go outside and they'll spend millions of dollars to put tents up and you'll be out on the lawn. So what Trump came up with is, let's build this big ballroom. It's something that is...
I think this is like a rendering, I
right,
guess.
It's what you would expect from the United States when you have heads of state in, or you have a state dinner somewhere. This is going to be state of the art. And the offices that were in the East Wing that have been moved temporarily will go back into this new building whenever they're done with it. So the question I have is, the 14 other times since 1902 that a president has undergone some sort of new project in the White House, where was the outrage over any of that? You probably don't even know what most of them are, right? Whitehouse.gov has a great section with pictures that shows you the White House improvements going back to 1902, including the Barack Obama basketball court. Anybody raise the stink about that? I was listening to Pete Mundo.
The jokes write themselves.
And they do. I was listening to Pete Mundo right on the way here, and he played some old CBS audio of a report on the Obama basketball court. And it happened during the Easter egg roll. Obama, whenever he shot hoops, never had cameras there. But because the Easter egg roll was going on, all the cameras went over to watch Barack Obama shoot. And this reporter's just talking about how badly he's playing basketball. That he missed that one. Oh, he missed that one. And they're just lavishing praise on him. And at the end, he makes a jump shot and he quickly leaves the basketball court. And the reporter says, this just shows you how competitive Barack Obama is. He was not going to leave the court until he made a shot.
Yeah, his half white comes out really strongly when he's playing basketball.
You just had that, though. You just pulled that up. The list?
Yeah.
Is that the list?
This is the list on whitehouse.gov, yes. Yeah, so I'll just read a couple. In 1902, President Theodore Roosevelt built the West Wing. In 1909, Howard Taft remodeled and expanded the West Wing, moving down, skipping a few. In 1934, Franklin D. Roosevelt overhauled the West Wing, adding a second floor, a larger basement, and a swimming pool, and relocating the Oval Office to its current location. In 1942, President Roosevelt constructed the East Wing. In 1970, President Nixon converted the swimming pool into the press briefing room. In 1973, he had a bowling alley. Well,
you
was a big bowler,
skipped
right?
over. Yeah, he was a big bowler. You skipped over 1948.
Yeah.
That's when Harry Truman took it down to the bare exterior walls.
Yeah. In 1948, President Harry Truman undertook a, quote, total reconstruction of the White House's interior, expanding its foundation and footprint, preserving only its exterior walls. So here's a picture of that.
Yeah. Well, there's a better picture that just shows the shell of the White House, and you can see trucks running around on dirt in there. I mean, it's incredible. Nobody ever bitched about this. Yeah. They wake up, Kurt, every morning. It's like, what did Trump do today? Mm-hmm. How can we set our hair on fire today? You know?
Yeah.
I have a video in here that I don't remember why I put it in here, but I've titled it, Remember When Obama Was King?
Oh, here's that picture, by the way. This is what you were talking about.
No, it's inside. It's an interior shot, but
okay.
It just basically shows it down to the bare walls, and there's dirt everywhere on that main floor, and you can see all the way up to the top of the building. So,
yeah, I'm not going to find it right now.
Yeah, it's all right. They can look it up on their own.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. When Obama was king.
Oh, yes. Sorry. We're moving quickly today.
We are
one of us has a hot date.
Waiting for legislation in order to make sure that we're providing Americans the kind of help that they need. I've got a pen and I've got a phone, and I can use that pen to sign executive orders and take executive actions and administrative actions that move the ball forward in helping to make sure our kids are getting the best education possible, making sure that our businesses are getting the kind of support and help they need to grow and advance. To make sure that people are getting the skills that they need to get those jobs that our businesses are creating.
Yeah. So that's what started the whole flurry of executive orders. Nobody called him a king at the time. You know, the reporters at that time were saying, President Barack Obama is taking bold action, bold leadership, because Republicans are trying to keep him from doing what he wants to do. So he's going to do it anyway.
Yeah, it's only fascism when it's what they don't like, and it's only democracy when it's what they do like.
It's crazy.
The key to the Obama impression, by the way, is the hand. You got to do this. He does this all the time, and then the in between you.
Yeah.
We're working on here on building a basketball. I can't do the voice, but we got to build a basketball court.
I don't know. I think your Biden seeps into that one.
Yeah, it does a little bit. Yeah. I got to work on I can't work on it live on air, you know.
All right, work on it maybe, next week after or something like that. We'll come back to it. All right, more to come here. Royal Roofing and Solar, they did the roof on my house, and they're ready to get up there and take a look at the roof on your house. You got to get up there and take a look at it. We've had a lot of weather through the course of this year. Maybe it's time to get a new roof. Austin Watterson will tell you the truth, and you won't get that from a lot of roofing folks. I mean, you were telling me you've had people coming out of the woodwork trying to get your business, and once they get a hook in you, they won't let go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you buy a new house, there's something with, I guess it's the mortgage loan. They send your information out to people, so they come by with the security systems and the roofs and the shingles and the painting and everything. You know?
I try and tell people, when I need something, I'll call somebody.
Yeah.
You don't really need to call me.
Yeah.
And when my roof was a problem, I called Austin Watterson because I've known him for a long time and I've trusted him for a long time. His website is roofedbyroyal.com. You can get that free inspection of your roof at 816-540-7057. Take a look at what they can do for you and what they won't do for you. And the old scam of we're going to get your insurance company to pay for the new roof. I mean, Austin works with insurance companies, and you'd be amazed that sometimes if you get a new roof and you have to finance it, the payment on that roof will pay for itself in lower insurance rates. Austin can explain that to you too. 816-540-7057. Jim Dingman runs both locations of Funhouse Pizza in Blue Springs and Lee Summit. He's on 7 Highway in Blue Springs. Again, that's where we will be on Tuesday from 5 until 7 with a great pizza special to help my kickoff from my campaign for Jackson County Legislature. He's also in Lee Summit on 50 Highway. Incredible pizza. A fun time. In fact, my campaign team and I were there scoping out the Blue Springs one to kind of block out what we were going to do. And they had 2 birthday parties going on at the same time there. And those kids
better
were just
not have any birthday parties on Tuesday.
They were just
kick them out,
having a blast, having a ball. Nah, bring your kids. We'll let them play the video games and all that. We love kids. So whatever you've got going on party-wise, or maybe it's just a family dinner and you want to get everybody together, and video games are always a fun part of that. Fun House Pizza, 7 Highway, Blue Springs, 50 Highway in Lee's Summit. So how long will this government shutdown go on? First of all, for people like us, we kind of like the government shutdown because they can't really do anything. They can't spend any more money. You got to love it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just really don't even care.
And I think they're finding that out in polling. They're finding out nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Right? So let's say that you were going to get like SNAP, which is something that low-income families rely on for food, right? They're not going to do checks in half the states in November. They're just not going to do it anymore. So if you were a young family and you're relying on that, maybe you use that as the impetus to try and get a better job, right? I mean, we should have a safety net in this country. We've talked about that. Yeah. People who can't work, we should take care of them. People who can work, we need to kick them in the ass and get them off whatever assistance they're on and get them in the real economy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. There's definitely something to be said where charity is good. We want to help people. We want to
who
lift
need
people
help,
up,
right?
But it becomes a crutch. It becomes restrictive at some point because you start to rely on it. We have people that are multi-generational welfare recipients and they have no need or reason to try and get off of it. So
even Bill Clinton back in the day talked about welfare to work. Right? I mean, that was a big thing, a big theme in his presidency. Whatever public assistance you're on, it ought to be a hand up, not a handout. We ought to be trying to get people back into the game. Now, I understand, before anybody yells and screams about this, that there are people who are disabled who aren't going to be able to get back into the work environment.
Yeah.
Those are the people that we should be taking care of. That's the American safety net. But our safety net has become like a cushy bed for a lot of people.
People need to understand, too, that it's become not assistance, it's become bribery.
That's true too.
That's what it is now.
Absolutely.
And people have to recognize that. They get lost in the sauce of, well, you're trying to take away XYZ, and there's some nuance there that we can talk about like we just did, but like they're literally buying your vote. That is what's happening. That's why they're doing it. That's why they don't want to take it away. That's why the baseline budget always goes up, is because they want you on government assistance. They want you depending on that paycheck from the government so that you'll keep voting for them.
Absolutely.
And, you could say that about the Democrat Party with welfare. You could say that about the Republican Party with the military industrial complex and all these other things. I mean, it's just the swamp, quote unquote, the establishment depends on like bribery and money of all these things in order to maintain power. That's just how it works.
Well, let's tell the truth about the shutdown as it sits right now, because here is the issue. The issue is the Republicans in the House have voted for what's called a clean CR. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. We'll just keep kicking the can down the road, because that's what we've been doing for years, it seems.
That's what happens every time, right?
Exactly.
I mean, we get a shutdown, and then like a week or two later, they're like, all right, well, we'll just, pass something to last us the next 6 months.
Right.
And then,
So that's what the Republicans have passed. The Democrats are putting a line in the sand here, and they are using this to say Obamacare subsidies that we voted for. Remember this, Obamacare was never about Republicans. It's all about Democrats, right? No Republican has voted for Obamacare at any level. And it's been a pack of lies. You can keep your doctor, you can keep your insurance, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to go up. The costs aren't going to go up. All lies, and we knew they were lies. So Democrats lied to you Democrats about this. And the last time that they got involved in this, they put in emergency COVID subsidies, temporary COVID subsidies, and the Democrats picked the end date for it, which was 2025. We ought to be out of the COVID emergency by now, wouldn't you think?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now they're saying, well, we're putting our feet in the sand here, and unless you come up with $1.5 trillion in Obamacare subsidies to move this thing forward, we're going to use the filibuster to shut down the government, which is what they've done. Because if the filibuster in the Senate did not exist, we would have a clean CR right now.
Yeah.
But the filibuster is what they're using to shut down the government. And then what I find is the irony of all ironies, they tried to get rid of the filibuster in the Senate. And it was Mitch McConnell 4 years ago who told them that was a really bad idea.
None of us on either side want to live in a scorched earth Senate. The institution and the American people deserve a lot better. But there's no doubt, none, that's what we'd see if Democrats tear up this pivotal rule. It would become immediately and painfully clear to the Democratic majority that they had indeed just broken the Senate. This gambit would not speed the Democrats' ambitions. It would delay them terribly. And it would hamstring the Biden presidency over a power grab, which the president has spent decades warning against and still opposes. Finally, at some point, the shoe would find its way to the other foot. When Republicans next control the government, we'd be able to repeal every bill that had just been rammed through. And we'd set about defending the unborn, exploring domestic energy, unleashing free enterprise, defunding sanctuary cities, securing the border, protecting workers' paychecks from union bosses. You get the picture. But a few years later, Democrats would try to flip it all back. So instead of building stable consensus, we'd be chaotically swapping party platforms, swinging wildly between opposite visions that would guarantee half the country is miserable and resentful at any given time.
Yeah. So, Mitch is an old guy, and I know he's falling down a lot now.
Yeah,
but
I was going to play that clip.
So wise. He was so wise right there. And Republicans have the majorities right now. And what the Democrats are running around saying is, well, I don't know what the problem is. You got the White House, you got the Senate, and you got the House, because they realize that people are stupid. And nobody's going to look at this and say, well, wait a minute. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, you're conducting a filibuster that's shutting everything down. And Republicans could end it today by eliminating the filibuster. But they're not going to do that for the reasons that McConnell just listed. When the framers put this thing together, it's the architecture of our government is so perfect. Why in the world would they want to screw with it? The House is all about, the fiery passions that we have. And that's why it's a majority vote in the House. And then it goes over to the Senate. And the Senate has always been termed the saucer that the coffee cup sits in to kind of cool things a little bit and maybe slow it down and have a little bit more thoughtful process. I mean, I think the Democrats in their wildest dreams would eliminate the Senate. Why do we need a Senate? In their words, I've seen on this whole eliminate the Electoral College thing, land doesn't vote. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. So, in their mind, why does Wyoming get 2 senators and California only gets 2 senators? That doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
Right? So eliminate it. Just they want to get rid of things when it doesn't go their way. They want to get rid of the structure of this country, and Republicans are keeping that structure in place.
But again, it's only because it's in their favor, because Montana is a red state. If Montana was a blue state, they wouldn't want to get rid of the Senate because they would have more power through those 2 senators from the blue state of Montana.
There are plenty of blue states that have small populations.
That's true, but the overall, this recent election with Trump where he won the popular vote was an exception.
It was.
Most of the recent presidential elections, even the ones that have been won by Republicans, going back to, I think, Bush, have been won. The popular vote has been won by the Democrat. And the Electoral College has been won by either the Democrat or the Republican. So the popular vote movement, the pure democracy movement, quote unquote, is being advocated by them because it would be a winning strategy for them.
They think.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe they're not. Maybe it's wrong. I'm just saying, from their perception, that's why they're doing it.
It would change the way campaigns are conducted.
Yeah, for sure.
And then places like New York, Chicago, L.A., places in Florida, Miami. I mean, the top 10 markets would become, the places where everybody would campaign. Nobody would ever come to the heartland again.
Right.
And so, maybe it would help them, maybe it wouldn't. But it's interesting to me that the last time that the Democrats really monkeyed with the architecture of the Senate, it came back to bite them in the ass in a big way. You may remember that they couldn't get enough judges confirmed, and so they did away with that little filibuster thing on federal judges. Well, what happens next? Mitch McConnell warned them, don't do this. This will come back and bite you in the ass, just like he said there. And it came back and bit them in the ass because Donald Trump got in there, and all of a sudden there were 3 vacancies on the Supreme Court, which he got done on a majority vote in the United States Senate. That is not the way the thing was drawn up. And then the Democrats said, well, then we need to have 6 more justices to offset what's going on here. That's their solution, is to tear up the architecture of what's going on there. It's just it's crazy.
Yeah, they're very driven by winning, which is something that Republicans are not. Republicans aren't as well. They're historically, at least in modern history, they haven't been driven as much by winning, because it's like, well, they're the ones that are saying, what if the shoe was on the other foot? They would do it to they're doing it to you right now. Well,
what happens in the past with these shutdowns, we're $1.5 trillion apart. They want to add $1.5 trillion in subsidies, and Donald Trump is saying no.
Right.
In the old days, the two parties would get together. It's like, okay, you can't have $1.5 trillion. Would 900 trillion or would 900 billion get you where you need to go? Right? He's not doing that. He's like, we've shut the government down. Nobody gives a shit. And you're making people hurt. You're making SNAP recipients hurt. You're making the airs, the skies less safe because of what's going on with air traffic controllers. You're doing all this. We're not giving you the money. There's no reason to do this. So that's where we are. That's the impasse. And I don't know how long it's going to go. The last vote they took in the Senate, 3 Democrats crossed over. So I think there are cracks in the linoleum. So we'll see what happens here. Oh, I love this, though. Jon Stewart had Bernie Sanders on, and he said everything that I believe in this interview with Bernie Sanders.
But again, this gets to the Democratic solutions have never been to directly provides. It's always been a subsidy to a middleman. But what happens is when the government promises endless funds to insurance companies or private universities without any cost controls, and Trump seems to understand this, prices rise far beyond the rate of inflation. And we've seen it in tuition, and we've seen it in pharmaceutical, and we've seen it in healthcare. So my question is, will Democrats recognize the poison pill that they've often placed into well-intentioned policy?
Right. What they end up doing is coming up with very complicated proposals. You make $48,964.
Yes!
You will get this thing. You make $1 more, you finish and blah, 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 blah. Look, we have got to make it simple. In the wealthiest country in the history of the world, should healthcare be a human right? Yes, it should be. Should we?
He just doesn't answer the question.
He doesn't. He's all the way around it.
He's very, very good. People think that Bernie Sanders is like this doddering old communist, which he is, but he's a career politician. The guy knows exactly what he's doing, and he's done this so many times because he's used to being in front of a friendly audience where he can just go, the millionaires and the billionaires are the problem. We need to give everybody healthcare as a human right, and never gets challenged on it.
Yeah.
So when he gets asked a real question, you can see him kind of like, I can't answer this. Like, I can't give a real answer. So he just deflects and goes back to his talking points, and then the clapping seals.
And, I had somebody reach out to me. This is what the Democrats and the liberals will do. It's like, well, what's your solution for health care? I mean, so they've created this problem, and then they've got this solution that is just onerous, that is killing this country. And our solution was fairly simple. Open it up so that insurance companies can negotiate across state lines. And let the private sector do this. Let supply and demand rule. We didn't have an insurance crisis in this country until fairly recently, if you look at the history of the country. But they've created this crisis. They've got this huge government bureaucracy to support it, which, again, only Democrats voted for. So they lied to you Democrat voters on this because we didn't buy it. And now costs have gone up. because it's the same old thing. When government gets involved, the price goes up and the efficiency goes down, and that's exactly what happened with healthcare. And what Bernie's going to keep saying in this
I'll finish
this clip. Go ahead.
Have the best quality education in the world, from childcare to graduate school. Yes, we should.
Yeah. So he's talking about education there.
How do you?
It's another area where we've poured trillions of dollars into education, and what have we gotten out of it?
Right.
Nothing. One of the issues that we're dealing with in Jackson County, and I'm learning a whole lot more about this, there's a thing in Missouri called the Hancock Amendment, which says that you cannot raise tax rates higher than X. Okay? It's a way that even if your house appraises for a lot more, you don't get a huge tax bill. Mm-hmm. The exception is the Kansas City, Missouri School District. They can charge as much as they want because there's an old desegregation ruling from years ago, decades ago, that is still on the books. And so they can charge you as much as they want to charge you. Mm-hmm. So that's just another one of those layers that we've got to get through. But, he talks about education, and Democrats will pour trillions of dollars in. They had an education department in 1978, and test scores went straight south. More government is not the answer. Mm-hmm. They think it is. And even Jon Stewart, he's like, well-intentioned as it might have been, I wouldn't say it's well-intentioned.
Yeah, who says it's well-intentioned?
I would be more on your side, that it's been about bribery.
Yeah. I want to finish this clip just to see if he provides any sort of answer whatsoever.
Let's get there.
All right, then the question is, all right, these are...
I'm writing this down, Sanders.
All right. The Republicans, you're getting violent here,
I get excited when you're around.
I think that's the end of the clip.
That's the end of the clip. But the question was, do we need to repeat the question? The question was, endless government funding provided to healthcare and pharmaceuticals and public education and private education has made costs skyrocket above the rate of inflation.
Right.
What do we do about that? That was the question.
Yeah.
And the answer was, we need to provide education and healthcare for people.
Healthcare is a human right.
Okay, you're just saying things. That means nothing. Who's going to say, you know what? I think we shouldn't provide healthcare for people. I think we should let people starve. That's my campaign platform. Nobody says that.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And people fall for it because they're low IQ or they're just emotionally driven. People are totally captured. It's like you have to see through that. You have to see that he's not saying anything. He's not saying anything. Everyone does it. Trump does it. Obama does it. They say nothing. It's total BS.
I'm working on that. I gave one speech this week, and after I was done with it, I thought, I need to sharpen the points a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm getting there.
Well, because here's the thing: the things that need to be said, nobody wants to hear. The things that need to be said are not going to get you elected, and I don't mean you specifically, but especially on a national level. What needs to be said is get your freaking life in order.
Yeah.
Stop
Take
being
personal responsibility.
Stop being a degenerate loser.
Right.
Follow God. These are the things that need to be said, and nobody wants to hear that in America. So good luck.
Yeah. Some people do. I think our side wants to hear that. That we relish that we want personal responsibility.
But there's some of that on our side too, because it's not about us doing better. It's about blaming the Democrats. Yeah. It's about saying, look at him. He's a socialist. They want to flood America with illegals. Okay, yeah, but what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you a good person? How are you fixing your community? Nobody's saying that.
Maybe it starts with a new generation of leaders. I've got some of Nancy Pelosi's recent greatest hits. The first one, she gets kind of nasty with a reporter. Have you seen this one, asking about January 6th?
Yeah. Did we not play this last week, or was that a different clip? Maybe I'm thinking of something.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day? Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Here she goes.
She needs help to walk.
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
Big smile at the end, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody in this situation, like Nancy Pelosi, she needs help to walk.
Right.
She can't answer the question. She gets real nasty. And then this woman at the end, Look, she's like, oh yeah, now I'm the center of attention. Now you're watching me. Oh yeah, this is going to go viral, isn't it? Look how pretty I am. Come on.
You know, when we talk about no kings, think about how little federal government experience Donald Trump has. And then look at what's going on Capitol Hill. Nancy Pelosi, you know, Bernie Sanders, Schumer, McConnell, Grassley. It's on both sides. They're there. I mean,
they're 1,000 years old.
The framers never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
Hell, nobody lived to be like 50 back in those days.
Yeah, I mean, I think George Washington and Benjamin Franklin. I think Benjamin Franklin was like one of the oldest ones. And when he became the ambassador to Great Britain, or was it France? He was France, right?
Actually, I think he was both. But
Yeah, but he was like in his late 40s or 50s, I think, at that point, something like that. And he was the old guy.
Yeah.
Alexander Hamilton was like 23.
Well, he was killed in a duel.
That's true, but I'm saying at the time, you know, that all this stuff was going on, he was like a baby.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, next on Pelosi, we're going to bag on her for a couple of more times here.
Trump is...
Oh, sorry.
Dana Bash from CNN. Again, Jon Stewart is now asking uncomfortable questions to Democrats, and Dana Bash, who, you know, probably has TDS as well, you know, she's asking uncomfortable questions.
Donald Trump is the worst president for children in America's history.
Kiss my ass. Right now, what we're seeing is President Trump and Republican leaders are saying they're not going to negotiate on extending the healthcare subsidies until the government reopens. So I guess my first question is, what's wrong with that position? Why not open the government and then negotiate?
The government was opened, and then the Republicans closed it because they did not want to extend healthcare subsidies.
I mean, I understand what you're saying about where the differences are, and they are very big. They are voting yes on what we say here in Washington, a clean CR, a bill to...
Nancy Pelosi is like, she's in this interview, and the look on her face, she's like, how can we kill this person?
Yeah. She's like, I'm not on Fox News. I'm on CNN. And she's like licking her teeth too. It's like her, whatever the stuff that holds your dentures in is like wearing off.
Call up the Secret Service. How can we have this person be suicided?
Keep the government running for 7 weeks, and Democrats are voting no, and for the reasons you just said. So how are they shutting down the government?
First of all, it isn't a clean CR.
Okay.
So let's not stipulate to that. It's not a clean CR.
What are they having
it's going into that. The point is...
And the conditions are that you want them to just automatically raise or extend, I should say, the subsidies for Obamacare?
Yeah, not to cancel them, but also it has to be in the law.
When you say cancel, they expire at the end of the year.
Yeah, so they must be expired.
Without any kind of negotiation over it, because they want reforms.
What reforms do they want? They want it to reduce. They want.
So you just don't buy any of it?
What do you mean reforms?
I'm just telling you what they've been on TV saying constantly.
I know that's what they say on TV, but look at history, look at the experience.
You're talking about a wide array and wide range of wants and sort of demands that Democrats have. You've been through this kind of thing many, many times. I still can't see, and maybe you can explain it, how you get from here to there, because it feels like we're going to be in this for a long time.
No. They're giving a tax cut to the rich, $4 trillion tax cut to the rich. We don't want legislative political redistricting. We cannot disarm unilaterally. We cannot disarm unilaterally.
I really appreciate it.
Oh, there's one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Because the former head of the FBI,
James Comey.
Think she was drinking, or is she having a stroke, or what's going on here?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, she's a wine mom or grandmom at this point for sure, but she's like 90 years old. So, I mean, you almost want to feel bad for her if she wasn't such a nasty woman. I mean, but it's like I said, she's literally in her head. I mean, I would bet like 50-50. She's thinking about like, how do we kill Dana Bash? What can I make happen here?
Well, then of course she's famous for ripping things up.
Oh, this is the
crown.
Oh,
tear up the crown.
No, way to go there, Nancy.
Is that like the one that you get from Burger King? Or
That's what it looks like. Yeah, I don't think Trump would wear that. I think he'd wear solid gold.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, she tore up his State of the Union address back in the day because that was so classy of a move, too. And she talks about whatever the tax cut was for the wealthiest people out there, and they act like that's their money, right?
Yeah.
That they're giving back federal money to you rich assholes.
Right.
And that's not true. The rich assholes earn that money and send it to Washington voluntarily.
Yeah, and even the numbers too. I mean, she obviously fumbled over her words, which is kind of reminiscent of the
700 billion and $1,300 billion.
But even then, like, they just say a number and they just expect you to believe it. You know, it's like what's the quote? There's lies, damn lies, and statistics, right? So you have all these different sources that will read through the bill and they'll say it cuts this much from this, it cuts this much from this. You can read 3 different sources and it'll give you 3 totally different numbers. One will say 100 million, one will say 200 billion. Where's that discrepancy coming from? So they just pick a number and then they go on TV and they say it and they expect you to be like, oh, wow. $4 trillion for the rich? My goodness, you know, like.
Well, they made up a number of 7 million people went to the No Kings rallies.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I mean, 77 million voted for Trump. However many voted for Kamala. I mean, that seems like a large step down from the number of people who voted for Kamala. Maybe they're going the wrong direction.
Yeah, or maybe the 2020 election was not legitimate.
Well, if you look at that, and I was thinking about this because I was like, I poo-pooed that. It's like, I just don't believe that. But when you look at the vote totals for Obama, right?
Yeah.
What he got, and then what Biden got, and then what Harris got, there's a bubble in the middle that you just cannot explain.
Yep.
It's like, how you have to believe that Joe Biden was the charismatic leader of FDR JFK proportion who was able to get the largest amount of votes in the history of the country. Now, at the time, the way I explained it was, they'd fomented so much hate against Donald Trump that anybody could have beaten Donald Trump with a big number, and that turned out to be Joe Biden. So I don't know. But, if you look at it statistically over time, Harris came back down to about where Democrats have been traditionally.
Yeah.
And the one-off is the big bubble in the middle for Joe Biden. So, all right, moving forward, Clay Como shooters. I don't know if they're going to be at the event on Tuesday night. I kind of hope so. Herb's been liking all of the things I've been putting out about the event. So they're great people to talk to at Clay Como Shooters because we have a Second Amendment in this country for a reason. We have police protection. Absolutely we do. But we also have a responsibility to protect our own families in our own homes. You have the right to a firearm. But you can't just go get a firearm and say it's all good. You've got to be trained. You have to have the right firearm. And that's where my friends at Clay Como Shooters come in. 69 Highway in Clay Como, right between I-35 and I-435. Give them a call at 816-452-4867. Tell them you're a fan of the podcast and you want to protect your family. It means finding the right gun and getting trained on it. These guys train law enforcement. They are former law enforcement. They train the police that you call when you call 911, and they can train you. They buy and sell guns, all major brands with ammo to go with them. Not a big box store. They are a neighborhood business looking out for you. An affordable indoor range to help with your training, too. That's Clay Como Shooters. And again, here's the phone number. Reach out, 816-452-4867.
Tremendous people.
And now we talk about Kirk Doris and Medicare Simplified KC. He was a guest on the podcast last week. We are in the 2026 Medicare annual enrollment. Okay, that's going on until early December, which means you got to act fast. This involves everybody who is on Medicare and those who are about to be on Medicare. The big, beautiful bill that passed, there are some serious changes to Medicare, and you need to be on top of that. Kirk has helped literally thousands of people. In fact, when we had him on last week, he was kind of haggard because the phones were all ringing. People were calling because this is the most important time of the year if you are on Medicare. Get somebody who's on your side, somebody who's not going to charge you. He gets paid by the insurance companies. He makes sure that you are on the right plan and the right part and that you've got the right supplemental insurance package to go with it. Call him up today. Don't put this off. Call him today, 816-701-6661. 816-701-6661, on the web at Medicare Simplified KC. If you can't come to him for an appointment, he will come to you. He's going to work harder than anybody that you know to make sure that you've got the right Medicare package. So get on the phone with him. All right, so we are still talking about boys playing on the girls' team. You would think that we'd be beyond all this, but we're not. Piers Morgan had an interview with Betty Yee. Yee, spelled Y-E-E. She is a Democrat running for governor of California, and he had some interesting questions for her, and you're going to see he's shocked at her answers. I don't think you'll be shocked.
But would you, as a principle, you would quite like to see a gender-neutral Olympics when it comes to LA?
If the physicality of the sexes bear true to that, including with transgender people, yes, it should be gender neutral. I think transgender female athletes are women athletes, and they should be able to compete.
Really? Tell me a single track and field event in the Olympics where a woman would qualify for any of the finals.
Well, I would think that in some of the in the short course, track events.
What do you mean? Like how long?
It's not going to be the long races, but the shorter races.
What 100 meters, 200 meters?
Could be 100 meter, sure.
Gender neutral Olympics is Betty Yee's clarion call for LA.
It's amazing, isn't it, Piers? I think we may just have seen another California Democrat candidate torpedo their campaign for governor. I mean, extraordinary. I'll just tell you very quickly where I stand on this. In terms of the Olympics, by the way, I think that it's the IOC that sets the participation rules, and the executive of the host city or state doesn't have a say, but I'll look into that. I'm talking to Caitlyn Jenner, actually, a friend of mine, about all of these issues in relation to the Olympics. She's giving me great advice.
Who is, by the way, the most sensible voice on all of this. I mean, Caitlyn,
Yes.
When Caitlyn identified as a woman in transition.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Is there more with Betty Yee?
First of all, this guy has way too much makeup on. You see his face looks like weird. But then you're going to be the authority on this issue, and then you say Caitlyn Jenner's my best friend, and you call him a she, and we're supposed to take you seriously on this? Give me a break.
All right, keep playing.
I remember Caitlyn saying that she went to compete in her local golf club tournament, and they said she could now go off the women's tees, and she went, well, that would be ridiculous. I'm still 6'3" or 4.
Right.
I still have the same physiology I had when I competed in the male decathlon and won gold medal. If I go off the women's tees, no woman could beat me. And she just said, look, I'll go off the men's tees. It's fine. It's no big deal. That is a pragmatic, sensible way around all these.
That would be a very interesting round of golf with Caitlyn Jenner.
Issues.
This all goes back to a piece of legislation. It's the law in California that biological boys have to be allowed to participate in girls' sports. It was passed in 2013. 12 years ago, AB 1266. I've looked into it with my legal team. The governor can't just ignore the laws, but actually, where a piece of legislation violates the California state constitution, the governor can initiate a process of overturning it. And that's what I will do, because this law violates the California constitution in two places. Section 28, which defends and protects safety in schools, because you're seeing a lot of injuries as a result of this, and Section 31, which prevents gender discrimination. And this is obviously discrimination against girls. So I'm confident that as governor, I could actually overturn that law and bring some sanity back to this whole situation.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is, but he's running for governor. I thought that I may have pulled the wrong clip there, but Betty Yee, one of the things that she says in the interview is that trans women are women because they say they're women. And
I mean, clearly Piers Morgan and this other guy agree with that because they use the pronouns. So their only problem is sports for some reason. Oh, we got to protect sports, but we'll still totally cave on everything else.
Well, see, this is where you and I disagree, because as far as Caitlyn Jenner goes, when you're a grown up and you make a decision like that, as long as it doesn't affect me or anybody that I love,
it does affect.
Go for it.
It does affect you, though.
How does it affect me?
Because it's a subversion of reality. It's a bastardization of reality. It's making you pretend like something that is obviously ridiculous is true, and then that filters down to every level of society. That filters down to our entertainment, to our education, and of course to children. How could it not? How could it not? When you see this person on TV all the time and they're a hulking man, Olympic athlete, and people are calling him a she, do you think that doesn't affect kids? Of course it does.
All right, fine. So the argument from the other side that we'll get from time to time is that it's a fractional number of biological boys that want to play on the girls' team. Isn't one too many?
Yeah.
Shouldn't a line be drawn here that one is too many? Yeah, Gavin Newsom, and again, he's going to run for president. Do you still think he's going to be the nominee?
I think he's a very strong candidate.
All right.
He's a very strong candidate.
He's running the state that has a law, that the Youth Sports Act for All, which makes it even easier for boys to play on the girls' team.
Is this Maine parents?
Yeah, this is from Maine, where you remember the governor of Maine got into it with Trump. Do you remember that? They were in the East Room, you know,
that
back and
hilarious.
forth. She's going to run for the Senate, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of fun, too.
Is Maine here? Where's Maine? Where's Maine? Stand up. Stand up.
All right. So these parents went to a school board meeting in Maine, and let's just say it got really interesting. She's taking her shirt off.
Point of order. We've asked that we use.
Oh, so wait. They're covered. You feel uncomfortable? Because that's what these young girls feel like when a boy walks into the locker room and starts unchanging in front of them. Yeah, you feel uncomfortable, right? Feel uncomfortable, huh? That's what these young girls feel like every time a young boy changes in front of them.
Viewer discretion.
You can look at
advised.
me like that all you want. That's exactly how they feel. And you, Miss Muffy, oh well, I don't know if I stand with girls or if I stand with my with the. So you don't care how young girls feel? You don't care about the safety of young kids? What about what happened in Virginia with that boy that raped a young girl in a bathroom, then got sent to another school and did it again? What are we going to do when that happens here? How are you going to look that girl in the face and say, sorry, I didn't protect you? This is Maine's capital. We should be setting an example for the rest of the state. You know what example you guys are setting? That we do not care about the young girls in this state. You guys care about politics.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't change it because it's not law. It got changed by an executive order by Biden, which is why we're here in the first place.
Of course, Biden's not running things right now, so these parents aren't being reported to the FBI as domestic terrorists as they were in Virginia. Sanity has returned to the country, at least for a little while. Let's hope that it stays. Bob Watson, State Farm Insurance. Appreciate you being part of the podcast. Get a rate quote from Bob, 816-229-7878. He's my insurance guy, and I can tell you over the last 30-plus years, he's really helped my family a lot through kids getting their driver's licenses, kids wrecking their cars, kids getting speeding tickets, dad with a lead foot getting speeding tickets. I mean, these things happen. You got your finger on a button over there? I know what the hell you were doing.
I was waiting for something. Never mind.
Licensed in Missouri and Kansas, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Bob Watson is a really great guy. 51 years as a State Farm agent.
I'd say congratulations.
All right, fine.
51 years.
I saw your finger hovering over a button.
I was getting a little trigger happy.
All right. Last word on No King's Day, and then we'll put this one in the bank.
Okay.
We don't know.
What do we want?
We don't know.
When do we want it?
Also unclear.
Why do we want it?
Because it was forwarded to us in an email, so it must be true. Yeah!
All right. See you Tuesday night at Funhouse Pizza on 7 Highway in Blue Springs, 5 to 7 p.m. The podcast event will start, the recording of the podcast will start at 6. So we will see you there on the road to the campaign there. Till next week, this is Dale Carter's America.
The views expressed on Dale Carter's America are Dale's and Kurt Wheeler's. They do not necessarily reflect the views of KFKF or Steel City Media. Comments can be sent to dalecartersamerica@gmail.com. Check back for weekly episodes. Subscribe, spread the word, and give us a 5-star review. Thanks for being a part of Dale Carter's America.